looking quarter in your pocket, and later discovering it's worth not just a few dollars, but $20,000, $30,000, or even up to $55,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. There's one special quarter from 1965 that has shocked collectors and treasure hunters all over the world. This little coin looks just like any other 25-cent piece, but because of a rare mistake made at the U.S. Mint, it became one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever made. Today, we're going to talk about the rare 1965 Washington quarter-era coin, how it happened, why it's so valuable, and how you can find out if you might have one worth tens of thousands of dollars sitting in your change jar right now. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a huge change. For many years, all quarters, dimes, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. But in the early 1960s, silver prices started to rise, and people began hoarding coins for their metal value. There was a coin shortage across the country. To fix that problem, the Mint decided to stop using silver in most coins. Starting in 1965, quarters were made from a new metal mixture called copper-nickel clad. That's a layer of copper sandwiched between nickel. If you look at the edge of a regular quarter today, you can see that thin copper color along the rim. That's the copper layer showing through. Now here's where the story gets exciting. When the Mint switched from silver to copper-nickel, they still had some leftover silver blanks from 1964. These blanks, called planchets, are the metal discs used to make coins. Somehow, a few of those old silver planchets accidentally got stuck in the coin presses and were used to strike 1965 dated quarters. That tiny mistake created one of the rarest and most valuable modern U.S. coins, the 1965 Washington quarter struck on a silver planchet. Because this happened during a big transition year, very few of these silver 1965 quarters were ever made, and even fewer were discovered. Most were released into circulation and spent just like any regular coin. Decades later, collectors began noticing something strange. Some 1965 quarters didn't have that usual copper edge. They also felt a bit heavier and made a different sound when tapped. When tested, these coins turned out to be made of silver, the same metal used in older quarters from 1964 and before. Imagine the surprise of finding one of those in your pocket change. A normal 1965 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but the rare silver ones weigh about 6.25 grams. That difference may seem small, but it's the main clue that helps collectors spot a treasure. So if you ever come across a 1965 quarter, grab a small digital scale and check the weight. If it's over 6 grams, you might be holding something very special. Collectors love this era coin because it's a mix of history and accident. It shows the moment when the U.S. stopped making silver coins, marking the end of an era. And because the mistake happened by accident, only a tiny number of these coins exist. That's what makes them so valuable. A normal 1965 quarter is only worth 25 cents, maybe a bit more if it's in perfect condition. But a genuine 1965 silver quarter can sell for thousands. Some have sold for $20,000, others for $39,000, and a few high-grade examples have reached $55,000 or more at major coin auctions. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors hunting through rolls of quarters every day, hoping to find that one rare piece of silver history. The easiest way to check if your 1965 quarter is special is to look closely at the edge. Regular quarters show a brownish copper line along the rim, but silver ones are solid silver all the way through. Also, the sound test can help. If you gently tap a silver coin on a table or another coin, it makes a high, ringing tone. A copper-nickel coin sounds duller and flatter. But the best and safest way to know for sure is to have it checked by a professional coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. They can test and certify your coin so that collectors can trust it's the real deal. If your coin is confirmed as a 1965 silver quarter, it instantly becomes a valuable collector's item. There are also other 1965 quarter errors that are worth money, though not as much as the silver one. Some have what's called a double die error, where the letters or numbers on the coin appear slightly doubled. Those can be worth a few $100s or more depending on the condition. Others have off-center strikes or clipped edges from the minting process, which can also sell for a good amount. But none of these even come close to the excitement or value of the 1965 silver quarter. That's the one collector's dream about finding. The story of this coin is really a story about how tiny mistakes can turn into big treasures. When the U.S. Mint was trying to fix a national problem by changing coin materials, a few leftover silver blanks slipped through unnoticed. No one thought twice about it at the time. But years later, those few coins became priceless artifacts from a time of change in American money history. The 1965 silver quarter isn't just a rare coin, it's a symbol of transition, of a nation moving from silver to modern coinage. It's also proof that valuable things can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a careful eye to discover them. So next time you get change at the store or open that jar full of old coins, don't ignore the quarters. Look at the dates, check the edges, and maybe even weigh them. You never know, you could be holding a coin that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. It could be a silver 1965 quarter, one of the rarest era coins ever found. Imagine turning a single quarter into $55,000. That's not just lucky, that's life-changing. Stories like this remind us that real treasures can still be found in everyday life. You don't need to dig for gold or buy expensive collectibles. Sometimes, the hidden fortune is sitting right there in your pocket. So keep an eye out, stay curious, and always check your coins. Because the next person to find a 1965 silver quarter could be you. If you liked this story, make sure to share it with your friends and family. Someone you know might be holding one of these rare quarters right now without realizing it. And if you love learning about rare coins and hidden treasures, don't forget to like and subscribe, because we've got more amazing stories coming your way. Who knows, the next video might just help you discover the next coin worth a small fortune. So grab your change, grab a magnifying glass, and start hunting. That 1965 quarter in your hand might not just be 25 cents, it could be $55,000 waiting to be found. Welcome back to OLD World Coins PK. Today's video is all about a super rare and exciting coin that could make you rich if you find it. We are talking about the 1966 era Washington quarter dollar, one of the most amazing and valuable quarters ever made. Some of these special era coins have sold for $25,000, $43,000, and even as high as $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple quarter that's worth only 25 cents could actually be worth thousands of dollars if it has the right kind of minting error. So don't skip this video, because I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this coin so valuable, what kind of mistakes to look for, and how you can check if you have one hiding in your pocket or old coin jar. Let's go back to the year 1966. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was making big changes. Before 1965, all quarters were made of 90% silver, but the price of silver went up and people started hoarding coins. The Mint decided to stop using silver and switched to a new metal mix called clad, which is made of copper in the middle and nickel on the outside. This change caused a lot of confusion and problems in the minting process. Machines were adjusted, new planchets were made, and workers were still learning how to handle the new materials. Because of this, some coins came out with strange and rare mistakes. The 1966 Washington quarter is one of those coins that came from this special time of change. It was made without any mint mark because the mint wanted to stop people from saving or hoarding them. So, all quarters from 1965, 1966, and 1967 look like they came from the same place, even though some were made in Philadelphia and others in Denver. Now, because the machines were being adjusted and old silver planchets were still around, a few quarters were accidentally struck on silver instead of the new copper-nickel metal. That's where the magic happens. Imagine a 1966 quarter that was supposed to be made from the new metal but was struck on leftover 1964 silver. These rare coins look a little bit different. They shine brighter, they have a softer white color, and they make a clear ringing sound when you drop them on a hard surface. They also weigh more. A normal 1966 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but the silver one weighs 6.25 grams. That difference in weight is one of the easiest ways to spot the rare silver planchet error. If you find one like that, you could be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some collectors have paid huge money for these rare 1966 era quarters. In coin auctions, they have sold for prices between $25,000 and $43,000, and one coin in top mint condition sold for around $78,000. That's more money than most people make in a year, all from one quarter. These coins are rare because only a very small number were made by accident, and most were used in everyday spending before anyone noticed they were different. Now, besides the silver planchet error, there are also other types of mistakes that make 1966 quarters valuable. Some coins were struck off-center, which means part of the design is missing or shifted to one side. The more off-center it is, the more it's worth, sometimes hundreds of dollars. Another type is called a double die error. That happens when the coin's design is stamped twice by mistake, creating a shadow or doubled image on the letters or numbers. You can check for doubling on the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the date, 1966. If you see clear doubling, your coin might be worth hundreds or even a few $1,000s depending on the condition. There's also the missing clad layer error. Because the new coins were made of layers of metal, sometimes one layer didn't attach properly, and the coin came out with one side showing only copper. These coins are strange looking and very collectible. A missing clad layer error can bring in between $1,000 and $5,000 depending on how strong and clear the error is. If you want to check your coins, you don't need special tools, just a few simple steps. First, use a small digital scale to check the weight. If your 1966 quarter weighs more than 6 grams, that's a big sign it could be the rare silver one. Second, look at the edge of the coin. A normal clad quarter has a visible copper color in the middle when you look at the side. A silver one will look solid silver all around with no copper line. Third, listen to the sound. A silver coin has a high, clear ring when you tap it gently or drop it on a table, while a regular quarter sounds duller. You can also use a magnifying glass to check the letters and numbers for doubling, or look for off-center designs. If you think you have a special coin, don't clean it or try to make it shiny. Cleaning a coin can damage it and lower its value. Instead, send it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will check it carefully, confirm if it's real, and give it a grade. A coin that is graded and certified by a professional company can sell for a lot more money because buyers trust it. Even if you don't find the rare silver one, keep checking your old coins. There are many other valuable 1966 era quarters that can bring you good money. A clipped planchet, where a small part of the coin is cut off, can be worth $100 or more. Broad strike errors, where the rim looks wider and flatter, can bring $50 to $200. Every small mistake adds value, and collectors love them because they show the story of how coins were made during that big change from silver to clad. The 1966 Washington quarter is not just a piece of metal, it's a piece of American history. It tells the story of a time when money, technology, and the mint itself were changing fast. It's amazing to think that a simple coin made during that time could now be worth thousands of dollars. Many people have found these rare coins by accident in their old savings jars, or in rolls of quarters from the bank. You never know where one might appear next. So before you spend your next quarter, take a close look at it. You might have a fortune right there in your hands. Check the weight, check the edge, listen to the sound, and look closely for any signs of error. One lucky find could change your life and make you part of coin history. That's why coin hunting is so exciting. You never know when you'll find a rare gem like the 1966 era quarter worth up to $78,000. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open. Your next big discovery could be right in your change. Thanks for watching Old World Coins PK. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can learn about these amazing treasures hiding in plain sight. Stay tuned for more videos about rare and valuable coins that could make you rich. See you in the next one, and happy coin hunting. Money bag fire. A coin that looks ordinary, one you might pick up from the ground or get as change at a store, but what if I told you that one of these coins could be worth $155,000, $173,000, or even $189,000? Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly the case with some rare 1967 Washington quarter-era coins. People all over the world are searching their change jars, wallets, and drawers because these coins are not just old, they are special mistakes made at the U.S. Mint that turned into treasures. The story behind the 1967 quarter is full of surprises, and by the end of this video, you might be rushing to check your own coins to see if you have one of these hidden gems waiting to make you rich. Let's go back to 1967. It was an interesting time in American history. Just a few years earlier, the U.S. Mint had stopped making silver coins because people were hoarding them for their metal value. So instead of using 90% silver, the Mint started making quarters out of a mix of copper and nickel, called a clad coin. These new coins looked similar, but the metal was cheaper. The Mint was producing billions of coins quickly to meet demand, and because of that rush, several rare minting mistakes slipped through the system. These mistakes, called errors, are now worth big money to collectors. So, the 1967 quarter became one of those coins that you really need to look out for because of the strange and valuable errors that occurred during that time. The normal 1967 Washington quarter doesn't have a mint mark. That's because during the years 1965, 1966, and 1967, the Mint decided not to include mint marks at all to stop coin hoarding. So, every 1967 quarter looks the same on the surface: George Washington on the front and the eagle on the back. But not all 1967 quarters are equal. Some were made with tiny errors that turned them into gold mines. These are the coins that are now worth from hundreds to thousands, and in some extreme cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of the most famous types of error is called the double die. That happens when the coin is struck twice by the machine, but not exactly in the same position. The second strike leaves a faint doubled image, especially on the letters or the date. If you look closely and see that the word "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the numbers in 1967 look slightly doubled or shadowed, that's a strong sign of a double die error. These coins can easily be worth several $1,000s depending on how clear the doubling is and what condition the coin is in. But the most exciting and valuable 1967 quarters are the ones struck on the wrong planchet. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin after being stamped. Sometimes, by mistake, the Mint would strike a quarter design on a planchet meant for another coin like a dime, a foreign coin, or even a leftover silver planchet from 1964. These mistakes are very rare and can make the coin extremely valuable. For example, a 1967 quarter struck on a silver planchet instead of the usual copper nickel could be worth as much as $155,000 to $189,000 if it's in excellent condition and verified by a grading service. That's because collectors love unique, one-of-a-kind errors like this, and there are only a handful known to exist. Other valuable 1967 quarter errors include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank was not placed correctly in the press. Some off-center errors show half the design missing, and those can bring in thousands of dollars, especially if the date 1967 is still visible. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a curved section of the coin is missing because the metal sheet overlapped when it was cut. Coins like that can sell for hundreds or even thousands. Then there are die cracks and cuts, which look like raised lines or lumps of metal on the coin's surface caused by a damaged die. Even small die cracks can be worth more than face value, and large ones can make a coin quite valuable. So, how can you tell if your 1967 quarter is special? Start by looking at the edge of the coin. A normal 1967 quarter should show a copper-colored stripe in the middle of the edge because of its copper core. But if your coin's edge looks completely silver without any copper showing, it might be one of those rare silver planchet errors. Next, use a magnifying glass to check the words and date for doubling or strange marks. Any unusual shapes, shadows, or misplaced designs could be signs of an error. And don't clean your coin. Cleaning can ruin its natural surface and lower its value drastically. Always handle it gently and, if you think it's rare, take it to a coin shop or send it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC to have it checked. In recent years, collectors have gone crazy for these coins. At major auctions, 1967-era quarters have sold for shocking prices. One rare quarter struck on a silver planchet sold for more than $160,000. Another one with multiple minting errors reached close to $189,000. Even more common errors like double strikes or heavy off-centers can bring in several $1,000s. It's amazing to think that a coin made for just 25 cents could now be worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. The design of the 1967 quarter is part of what makes it special too. The face of George Washington is iconic, and the eagle on the back gives the coin a proud, classic look. These coins have been part of American pockets for decades, and finding one with a hidden mistake feels like uncovering a tiny piece of history. Each error tells a story of how even machines and humans can make little slips that later become treasures. That's what makes collecting so exciting. It's not just about the money, it's about the mystery, the discovery, and the thrill of finding something rare that others missed. So, before you spend your quarters, take a moment to look at them closely. Check every 1967 quarter you come across. Look for strange colors, missing details, doubled letters, or off-center strikes. You never know which one might be that lucky find worth a life-changing amount of money. Some people have found rare coins in their change jars, in old drawers, or in family coin collections without even realizing it. It's like hidden treasure waiting to be discovered, and the 1967 quarter is one of those coins that can turn an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. The next time you pick up a quarter, don't just see it as 25 cents. See it as a piece of history, a possible treasure, and maybe even a ticket to $155,000 or more. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know what's out there until you look. So start searching today. Maybe your lucky 1967 quarter is waiting for you right now, shining quietly, ready to change your life forever.